Her hands trembled as she stared at the diamond ring glittering on her finger. A ring given to her by a complete stranger just 48 hours ago in a grocery store. In less than an hour, she'd be introducing this devastatingly handsome man to her entire family as her fiancé. But there was one problem she hadn't anticipated: the way her heart stopped every time he looked at her, as if this fake relationship was becoming dangerously real. And what she didn't know: he was hiding a secret that could destroy everything. Before we dive into this incredible story, smash that subscribe button, because you won't believe where this goes. Drop your location in the comments. I love seeing where my stories reach around the world. Now let's begin. Emma Sinclair's knuckles turned white as she gripped her phone, navigating through the crowded grocery store aisles. Holiday music blasted from overhead speakers, mixing with the chaos of last-minute Christmas shoppers. But Emma couldn't focus on any of it. Her mother's voice cut through everything like a knife. "Jessica's engaged, sweetheart, 24 and already engaged. The ring is absolutely gorgeous, 3 carats platinum setting. Her fiancé is a pediatric surgeon. Your Aunt Patricia keeps asking why you're still alone at 28. I told her you're too busy saving the world, but between you and me, darling, I worry about you." Emma's chest tightened with that familiar mixture of shame and frustration. At 28, she was a rising star at Morrison & Associates, one of the city's most prestigious law firms. She'd just won a case that made partners twice her age jealous. She billed more hours than anyone in her department. Her apartment overlooked the city skyline. Her closet was full of designer suits. Her bank account was healthy. But none of that mattered when she drove home for Christmas. In her small hometown, success wasn't measured by courtroom victories or corner offices. It was measured by the presence of someone standing beside you at family dinners, by engagement rings and wedding invitations, by the promise of grandchildren her mother could show off to her sisters. "Mom, I'm really happy for Jessica." Emma managed her voice strained as she steered around a massive display of candy canes. "But I'm literally in the middle of shopping right now. I need to finish up and pack for the drive tomorrow." "Of course, darling. I just wanted to prepare you. Your Aunt Patricia will be there with all her questions, and Aunt Caroline will bring her daughter's wedding photos again. You know how they are. They mean well, but they worry. A woman your age all alone in the big city." The words stung more than they should have. Emma had built an armor of professional accomplishments around herself, a fortress of success that should have protected her from these conversations. But every Christmas, every Thanksgiving, every family gathering, she returned home and faced the same gentle interrogation. The same sympathetic looks, the same unspoken message that her life, no matter how impressive on paper, was somehow incomplete without a man to validate it. "I should go, Mom. I'll see you tomorrow. Wait, one more thing. Your cousin Mark is bringing his new girlfriend. She's a kindergarten teacher. Isn't that sweet?" "Everyone's finding someone, honey. I just want you to be happy." Emma felt the familiar pressure building behind her eyes. "I am happy, Mom." "Are you though, really?" The question hung in the air, and Emma didn't have an answer. She was so lost in her thoughts, so consumed by the dread of facing another holiday season, defending her choices, that she didn't see the man standing directly in her path. Her cart slammed into him with a jarring crash that echoed through the aisle. Time seemed to slow down. Cans tumbled from the shelf beside them: cranberry sauce, gourmet olives, artichoke hearts, pickled vegetables hitting the polished floor with deafening metallic clangs that made everyone within 3 aisles turn and stare. Emma's phone slipped from her hand, the call disconnecting as it clattered to the ground. Her carefully maintained composure shattered into 1,000 pieces, just like the jar of sun-dried tomatoes that rolled across the floor, leaving a trail of oil and red fragments. "Oh my God!" Emma gasped, her face burning with mortification. "I'm so sorry." She dropped to her knees, immediately scrambling to gather the rolling cans, her hands shaking. This was exactly what her life felt like right now. Everything spinning out of control, making a scene, falling apart in public. A hand reached down to help her, a large, elegant hand with perfectly manicured nails and a watch that probably cost more than her monthly rent. "No worries at all," a voice said, and Emma's breath caught in her throat. The voice was deep and smooth like expensive bourbon on a cold night. Rich, warm, with an underlying hint of amusement that somehow didn't feel mocking. Emma looked up slowly, and the world tilted on its axis. He was devastatingly handsome in a way that seemed almost unfair. The kind of handsome that made you forget your own name. Dark hair fell perfectly across his forehead in that effortlessly styled way that probably took either no effort at all or a very expensive stylist. His eyes were the color of deep forest greens, sparkling with genuine amusement rather than irritation. He wore a charcoal cashmere coat over a crisp white shirt that fit him like it was custom made, because it probably was. Everything about him screamed money and sophistication, from his designer shoes to the subtle cologne that smelled like cedar and winter air and something expensive she couldn't quite place. I wasn't watching where I was going, Emma stammered, clutching a can of olives like it was a lifeline. She could feel every eye in the aisle on them, judging her clumsiness, her lack of attention, her complete inability to function like a normal human being. Clearly, he said, but his smile took any sting out of the word. He crouched down beside her, helping to stack cans with smooth, practiced movements. His hands were elegant but strong, and Emma found herself staring at them stupidly. It's just, I was on the phone with my mother, she heard herself explaining, and why was she explaining? And she was telling me about my cousin's engagement and how everyone's worried about me being alone, and I'm about to spend a week being interrogated about my empty, pathetic personal life, even though I have a great career and a great apartment. And Emma stopped abruptly, horror washing over her in a cold wave. She'd just word vomited her entire psychological breakdown to a complete stranger in the middle of a grocery store. Heat flooded her face. I'm sorry, she whispered, squeezing her eyes shut. I don't know why I just told you all of that. That was incredibly inappropriate. But when she opened her eyes, she didn't see judgment or disgust on his face. Instead, his smile had deepened, reaching those incredible green eyes. He finished stacking the last of the cans, then leaned casually against the shelf, studying her with an intensity that made her skin tingle with awareness. A week-long interrogation, you say? His voice dropped lower, almost playful, and Emma felt goosebumps rise on her arms. A tribunal of well-meaning relatives who've decided your worth is measured by your relationship status rather than your professional achievements. Exactly, Emma breathed, surprised he understood so perfectly. It doesn't matter that I'm up for junior partner, or that I just won a case against one of the biggest firms in the state. All that matters is whether I have someone to bring to Christmas dinner. And what exactly would satisfy this tribunal? He asked, tilting his head slightly. What's the magic solution? Emma let out a bitter laugh. A boyfriend, or better yet, a fiancé. Someone to prove that I haven't completely sacrificed my personal life for partnership track. Someone to make them stop looking at me with those pitying eyes that say, such a shame, so successful, but so alone. She expected him to offer a sympathetic nod and walk away. Maybe suggest she get a cat or join a dating app. She absolutely did not expect what happened next. Something shifted in his expression, a dangerous, thrilling spark of interest that made her pulse quicken. He took a step closer, closing the distance between them until she could feel the warmth radiating from him, until she could see the flecks of gold in those green eyes, until the chaos of the grocery store seemed to fade away and it was just the two of them in their own private world. What happened next changed everything. He stepped closer, close enough that she could feel his warmth, close enough that the world seemed to fade away. I have a proposition for you, Miss Sinclair, Emma Sinclair. Miss Sinclair. His voice dropped to a whisper that sent shivers down her spine. Take me home with you. I'll be your Christmas fiancé. Problem solved. Emma stared at him. The audacity, the insanity. But something in his eyes, complete sincerity mixed with reckless excitement, stopped her cold. You're insane, she whispered. Maybe. But think about the look on Aunt Patricia's face when you walk in with me. The image flashed through Emma's mind. The shocked silence, the respect, the peace. 1 week, he pressed. Pure performance art. What do you say? Every logical part of Emma's brain screamed this was reckless. She was a lawyer. She dealt in facts. But this stranger was offering an escape from her carefully controlled prison. Fine, she heard herself say. I accept. Triumph blazed in his eyes. Excellent. Ryan Calloway at your service. But what Emma didn't know was that Ryan Calloway wasn't just some bored businessman looking for adventure. He had his own desperate reasons for accepting this insane arrangement. And when his secret came out, it would either bring them together or destroy them completely. The next morning, Emma met Ryan at a cafe, arriving early with her legal pad covered in notes. When Ryan walked in looking elegant in dark jeans and a charcoal sweater, Emma's preparation scattered. Did you prepare a deposition, counselor? He teased, sliding into the booth. My family will interrogate us, Emma insisted. We need our story airtight. Ryan leaned back. All right, hit me. For 2 hours, they built their relationship brick by brick. They met at a charity gala 3 months ago. First date at an Italian restaurant. First kiss after a Broadway show. He loved her intelligence and passion. She loved his unexpected humor and the way he listened. With every detail, Emma felt the line between fiction and reality blur. When did you propose, she asked. Ryan's expression softened. Last week. Your favorite restaurant rooftop garden string lights everywhere. The ring was in a chocolate box. I told you that meeting you was like finding something I didn't know I was missing. You said yes before I finished my speech. Emma's throat tightened. It sounded too perfect. You really are good at this. Emma, his voice dropped. Why did you really say yes to this? There's something else. She looked down. I'm tired of proving myself, tired of being lonely but too proud to admit it. She met his eyes. Your turn. Why did you really say yes? Vulnerability flickered across his face. Because my life has become unbearably predictable. When you crashed into me, you were real in a way I'd forgotten how to be. His fingers brushed hers. You gave me permission to step outside my carefully constructed life. Before Emma could respond, his phone buzzed. Ryan glanced at it and tensed, silencing it without answering. Everything okay? Fine. Just work. But she'd seen the tension. When do we leave for this adventure? 24 hours later, Emma gripped her steering wheel as they approached her grandmother's farmhouse. Snow blanketed everything, smoke curled from the chimney. Christmas lights twinkled everywhere. Her entire family spilled onto the porch. Ryan knocked on her window, looking reassuring. Showtime, he mouthed. Emma took his hand warm and steady and opened the door. Everyone, this is Ryan Calloway, my fiancé. The effect was spectacular. Her mother shrieked. Her father's eyebrows shot up. Aunt Patricia stepped back. The cousins squealed. Fiancé. Her mother raced down the steps. When how? It was a surprise. Emma managed, and Ryan's arm came around her waist. Mrs. Sinclair, Ryan said warmly. It's wonderful to finally meet you. Her mother melted instantly. That smile, that voice, Ryan was a master. Let me see the ring. Cousin Jessica grabbed Emma's hand. 2 carats. Princess cut, Ryan said smoothly. Emma preferred elegant simplicity. Jessica's eyes narrowed. How long have you been together? 3 months, they said simultaneously. And already engaged. Aunt Patricia interjected suspiciously. Ryan's arm tightened. When you know, you know. I knew the moment Emma called a city councilman an architectural fascist. Laughter rippled through the family. Her father stepped forward. Ryan met his eyes steadily. Mr. Sinclair, I know this is sudden, but I love your daughter. I'd appreciate the chance to prove myself. Her father studied him, then shook his hand. You're driving a Mercedes in the snow. That's brave or stupid. Probably both, sir. Bust here, but I wanted to make a good impression. Her father's lips twitched. You picked the right woman. Don't forget that. As the family ushered them inside, Emma caught Ryan's eye. He winked and butterflies erupted in her stomach. He was perfect. Too perfect, and that's what terrified her. That night, after Ryan charmed everyone at dinner, Emma found herself alone with him in their guest room. One bed. Ryan had already arranged blankets on the floor. You were incredible tonight, Emma said. My father liked you. Ryan loosened his tie, his back to her. Your family is wonderful. The way they gathered for dinner, the genuine conversations, the laughter. He turned. It's real and messy and beautiful. Ryan, are you okay? He sat beside her. Can I tell you something true? Yes. I can't remember the last family dinner like tonight, where people talk to each other instead of at each other. My family gatherings are performances. His hand found hers. Tonight I felt like I could breathe. Emma squeezed his hand. That's because you were yourself. Was I or was I being who I wish I could be? Before Emma could answer, Ryan stood. I should let you sleep. Big day tomorrow? Ryan. Good night, Emma. He turned away to his floor bed. Emma lay awake for hours listening to his breathing, feeling everything unsaid between them. The next afternoon, Jessica cornered Emma in the kitchen, phone in hand. There's something off about Ryan, Jessica said. I've seen his face before. Emma's knife slipped. What? He looks familiar, like from a magazine. Jessica scrolled her phone. Ryan Calloway. Let me search. Jessica, can you grab the cranberries? Her grandmother's voice cut in from the doorway, eyes moving between them. Emma, your young man is helping your father outside. Take him coffee. Emma escaped gratefully, finding Ryan in the barn with her father, both laughing and covered in grease. Coffee delivery, she called. Your daughter's a lifesaver, her father said. Ryan knows his way around an engine. My grandfather had a farm, Ryan explained, accepting the mug. Spent summers on equipment like this. Her father patted Ryan's shoulder and left them alone. Jessica's suspicious, Emma said immediately. She thinks she's seen your face. She was about to Google you. Ryan set down his coffee tension in his shoulders. Emma. Ryan Calloway. Jessica's voice rang from the entrance phone held up. I knew I'd seen you. You're not just a hedge fund manager. You're Ryan Calloway. Calloway Industries, Forbes lists, society pages. Emma's heart stopped. Is that true? Emma asked. Ryan met her eyes, guilt and fear written there. Yes. You lied. Emma's voice rose. This whole time. I technically work in finance, Ryan started. Don't. Emma held up her hand. Don't play games with me. Jessica was watching gleefully. You met 3 months ago, but Ryan's been in Europe for 4 months, according to this article. Emma felt everything crumbling. Jessica out, now. Her grandmother's authority brooked no argument. Jessica retreated reluctantly. This isn't over. The grandmother looked at them both. You two need to figure out what's real, before this falls apart. She left. Emma turned on Ryan. Who are you? Ryan closed his eyes. My name is Ryan Alexander Calloway. My family owns Calloway Industries. Jessica's right, Forbes lists magazine covers all of it. I've spent 5 years trying to escape that goldfish bowl. Why lie? Because everyone wants something. Ryan's control broke. Everyone calculates what they can get from me. Every relationship is transactional. When you crashed into me, you had no idea who I was. You were just real. And I wanted that so desperately that I lied to keep it. Emma's anger faltered. She heard her own loneliness echoed in his words. You don't think I understand? I've proven myself my whole life. Proving I belong, I don't need anyone. She paused. You should have told me. I know. Ryan's hand reached for hers. I'm sorry. I'm such a mess that I thought a fake relationship would fix me. Despite everything, Emma's lips twitched. We're both a mess. A matched set, Ryan agreed, something tender in his eyes. Drop if you think Emma should forgive him, if this lie is unforgivable. What happens next will shock you. That evening, the family gathered for Jessica's engagement celebration. Emma plastered on a smile and played her part, Ryan's hand warm in hers, both of them navigating the careful dance of pretending everything was fine. But Jessica was watching them like a hawk, and Emma could feel the truth hanging over them like a sword. After dinner, Emma escaped to the porch, needing air, needing space to think. The snow had started falling again, soft and quiet, coating the world in white. She heard the door open behind her and knew without looking that it was Ryan. Your grandmother knows, he said quietly, coming to stand beside her at the railing. She pulled me aside after dinner. Didn't say anything directly, just looked at me with those eyes that see everything and said, that girl deserves honesty. Emma let out a shaky laugh. She always knows. Even when we were kids, she could tell when we were lying. Emma. Ryan turned to face her, his green eyes intense in the porch light. I need to tell you something. The whole truth this time. Emma braced herself, not sure she could handle any more revelations. When Jessica called me out in the barn, she mentioned I've been in Europe for 4 months. That's true. My company was expanding and I was overseeing everything. 18-hour days, meetings that blurred together, charity events where I smiled and shook hands and felt absolutely nothing. He paused, his voice dropping. 3 weeks ago, I was at a gala in Paris, the kind of event I've been to 100 times. Beautiful people in expensive clothes making empty conversation. And I looked around and realized I couldn't remember the last time I'd had a real conversation with another human being. Ryan, let me finish, he said gently. I flew back early, walked away from meetings, canceled appearances. My family was furious. They said I was throwing away my responsibilities, being selfish, having some kind of breakdown. Maybe I was. His hand found hers on the railing. And then I went to a grocery store to buy food for the first time in months. Usually my assistant does it, and this gorgeous woman crashed into me and started falling apart about her mother and her relatives and her empty life. He looked at her vulnerability written across every line of his face. You were the most real thing I'd encountered in years. And I realized I'd rather spend 1 week being real with you than another decade being fake with everyone else. Emma felt tears prick her eyes. Is that why you agreed it wasn't just about helping me? It was about saving myself. Ryan said simply. You gave me permission to be honest, to stop performing, to admit that success without connection is just expensive loneliness. His thumb traced circles on her palm. Being here with you, with your chaotic, wonderful family, I feel like I can breathe for the first time in years. Ryan. Emma started, but he shook his head. I'm not done. There's more. He reached into his pocket and pulled out his phone, scrolling to show her messages. My mother has been calling nonstop. The board wants to know where I am. My family is furious I'm missing our Christmas gathering, this massive formal event where we all play our roles and pretend to be a loving family while photographers document it for society pages. Emma looked at the messages, the increasing desperation and anger in them. You were supposed to be there. I was supposed to perform there, Ryan corrected. Smile for cameras, make small talk with people I barely know, toast to family values while feeling completely alone in a room full of people. He turned to face her fully. Or I could be here, with real people having real conversations, with someone who sees me, with you. The weight of what he was saying hit Emma. You gave up Christmas with your family for this. For me. I chose this, Ryan said firmly. I chose you. I chose real over perfect, and I'd make that choice 1,000 times over. Emma's tears finally spilled over. She'd spent so long armoring herself against exactly this, against vulnerability, against needing someone, against the terrifying risk of caring. But Ryan was offering her something she'd been too afraid to want the chance to be messy and real and seen. I'm falling for you, she whispered. And that wasn't part of the plan. That wasn't supposed to happen. Ryan's hands came up to frame her face, his thumbs brushing away her tears. Plans change. The best things in life usually aren't planned. He leaned his forehead against hers. I'm falling for you too, Emma. So hard it terrifies me. When he kissed her this time, it was different from before. Slower, deeper, like a promise and a question all at once. Emma's hands slid into his hair and she kissed him back with everything she'd been holding inside, all the loneliness, all the fear, all the desperate hope that maybe, just maybe, this impossible thing could be real. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Ryan pulled her close, tucking her head under his chin. What happens when we leave here? Emma asked against his chest. When we go back to the real world, I don't know, Ryan admitted. But I know I don't want this to end. I know that being here with you has shown me what's been missing from my life. Connection. Chaos. Real, messy, beautiful human connection. He tilted her chin up so she was looking at him. I spent so long building a perfect life that I forgot to make sure it was a happy life. Me too, Emma whispered. I've been so focused on proving I didn't need anyone that I never let myself admit how badly I wanted someone. Wanted this? Then let's figure it out together. Ryan's smile was soft and genuine. No more fake dating, no more contracts with expiration dates. Just two people who met in a grocery store and decided to see where the chaos leads. Emma leaned forward, pressing her lips to his in a kiss that was both promise and plea. I'm terrified, she admitted against his mouth. Good, Ryan murmured back, kissing her again. That means it matters. They stayed on the porch until they were both shivering, wrapped in each other, watching snow fall and building something real from the ashes of their elaborate lie. Christmas morning dawned bright and cold. Emma woke to find Ryan already awake, sitting on the edge of the bed, staring at his phone with an expression she couldn't read. Ryan, what's wrong? He looked up and she saw the weight of the world in his eyes. His phone screen glowed with dozens of unread messages. My mother, he said quietly. She knows I'm not in the city. She's furious. She's threatening to cut me off from the company, says I'm being irresponsible and selfish. He ran his hand through his hair. Maybe she's right. Emma sat up, pulling the blanket around her shoulders. Do you believe that you're being selfish? I don't know what I believe anymore. Ryan's voice was raw. I walked away from my responsibilities, from my family, from everything I'm supposed to be who you actually are, Emma finished softly. Ryan looked at her and something shifted in his expression. Emma, I need to tell you something else. The real reason I said yes to this crazy plan. He took a shaky breath. 3 months ago, my father died. Heart attack, completely unexpected. And everyone, my mother, the board society, expected me to just step into his shoes. Take over. Keep everything running exactly as it had been. They gave me 2 weeks to grieve and then it was back to business. Emma's heart broke for him. Ryan, I've been drowning ever since. Going through the motions, saying yes to everything. Becoming exactly what everyone expected. And then you crashed into me, and for the first time since my father died, I felt something other than numbness. I felt alive. His hand found hers. You saved me, Emma. You gave me permission to step off the treadmill, even if just for a week. Tears streamed down Emma's face. I'm so sorry about your father, about all of it. Don't be sorry, Ryan said fiercely. Be with me, choose this, choose us, because I meant what I said last night, I'm falling in love with you. Maybe I already have. And I know it's fast and crazy and completely illogical, but Emma kissed him, cutting off his words. When she pulled back, she was crying and smiling at the same time. I love you too. And yes, it's fast and crazy, but maybe that's exactly what we both need. Ryan pulled her into his arms, holding her like she was the only solid thing in a shifting world. But their moment was interrupted by a knock on the door. Emma's grandmother's voice called through. You two might want to come downstairs. You have you have a visitor. Emma and Ryan exchanged confused glances and quickly dressed. When they came down the stairs, Emma's entire family was gathered in the living room, parting to reveal an elegant woman in a Burberry coat standing by the Christmas tree. She had Ryan's eyes, his aristocratic features, and an expression that could freeze fire. Hello, Ryan. The woman said, her voice like cut glass. Perhaps you'd like to introduce me to your fiancé. Ryan's hand tightened on Emma's. Emma, this is my mother, Catherine Calloway. The room went silent. You could have heard a pin drop. Catherine's cold eyes swept over Emma, assessing and finding her wanting in about 3 seconds. So you're the reason my son abandoned his family on Christmas, threw away his responsibilities, embarrassed us in front of society. She smiled, but it was all teeth and no warmth. How charming. Mother, Ryan started, but Catherine held up a perfectly manicured hand. I did some research on you, Miss Sinclair. Junior attorney at Morrison & Associates. Impressive in a provincial way. Tell me, what's your endgame here? How much money will it take for you to walk away? The insult hung in the air like a slap. Emma felt her face burn, but before she could respond, Ryan stepped forward, positioning himself between Emma and his mother. That's enough, he said, his voice deadly quiet but full of steel. You will not speak to Emma that way. You will not insult her in her own grandmother's home. And you will absolutely not assume that everyone in the world operates on your transactional view of relationships. Catherine raised an eyebrow. Ryan, don't be naive. Of course she's after your money. She didn't know about my money. Ryan said, his voice rising. When we met, she had no idea who I was. She crashed her shopping cart into me while falling apart on the phone with her mother. She was messy and real and honest about being lonely. She wasn't calculating. She wasn't performing. She was just human. Emma watched Catherine's expression flicker with something surprise uncertainty. Ryan continued, his voice steadying. You want to know why I came here instead of your perfect Christmas performance? Because this is real. These people care about each other, not about appearances. They laugh and argue and support each other. They don't need a photographer to prove they're a family. You're throwing away everything your father built. Dad was miserable. The words exploded from Ryan, shocking everyone. He told me right before he died, he said he'd built this empire but forgotten to build a life. He said he envied people who could just be themselves. He made me promise not to make the same mistake. Catherine's perfect composure cracked just slightly. Your father said that his last words to me were, choose happiness, Ryan, not success. Happiness. Ryan's voice broke. And I've been ignoring that advice for 3 months, trying to be what you wanted, what the board wanted, what society expected. But I'm done. I'm choosing differently. He turned to Emma, taking both her hands. The entire room watched transfixed. Emma Sinclair. I know we met under insane circumstances. I know this week has been built on a complicated lie. But here's the truth, I love you. I love your brilliant mind and your vulnerability. I love how you're both fierce and fragile. I love that you crashed into me, literally and figuratively, and woke me up from sleepwalking through my own life. Emma could barely breathe. Ryan continued, his green eyes locked on hers. I don't have a ring. The fake one doesn't count. I don't have a perfect plan, but I'm asking you to take a chance on me. On us. To figure out how to merge your life and mine into something real and messy and ours. Ryan? Emma whispered, tears streaming down her face. Yes, 1,000 times yes. When he kissed her, the room erupted. Her cousins cheered, her mother cried. Her father smiled. And even Catherine Calloway's cold facade softened just slightly as she watched her son finally genuinely smile. Later that evening, after Catherine had left with a promise to discuss this rationally after the holidays, Emma found herself alone with Ryan on the porch again. The same spot where everything had shifted the night before. Your mother hates me, Emma said, only half joking. Ryan wrapped his arms around her from behind, resting his chin on her shoulder. My mother hates everyone, including herself. Give her time. Once she realizes you're not going anywhere, she'll come around. She has to, because I meant every word I said in there. Emma leaned back into his warmth, So what happens now? In the real world. Well, Ryan said thoughtfully, you're up for junior partner in the spring. I have a company to run, but on my own terms now. You live in the city, I live in the city. We could start with actual dates. Real ones. No scripts, no fake stories. That sounds terrifying, Emma admitted. The best things always are. Ryan turned her around to face him. Emma, I'm not going to pretend this will be easy. My world is complicated. There will be event scrutiny people who judge you for being with me. Are you ready for that? Emma thought about it, really thought about it. The media attention, the society events, the pressure. But then she looked at Ryan, at this man who'd chosen authenticity over appearance, who'd challenged her to want more than professional success, who'd made her believe in possibilities she'd written off years ago. I've spent my whole life being ready for hard things, she said. Partnership track isn't for the faint of heart. But this is the first hard thing I've ever actually wanted. Ryan's smile was brilliant. Then let's start the new year with radical honesty. Real dates, real conversations, real everything. Deal, Emma agreed. But we're keeping the compass necklace. That can stay. Absolutely, Ryan murmured and kissed her softly. As the sun set on Christmas Day, painting the snow-covered fields in shades of pink and gold, Emma realized something profound. Their story had started with a collision in a grocery store. A desperate lie born from loneliness. A fake relationship that neither of them had expected to become real. But sometimes the best love stories begin with chaos. With two people brave enough to crash into each other's lives and see what happens next. 6 months later, Ryan would return to that same grocery store with Emma. He'd lead her to the canned goods aisle, the exact spot where they'd met. Her entire family would be hiding behind end caps with the photographer her mother had insisted on hiring. And he'd get down on one knee with a real ring this time and ask her the question he should have asked that first crazy day. But that's a story for another time. For now, wrapped in Ryan's arms under a winter sky, Emma understood that real love doesn't complete you. It challenges you to become who you were always meant to be. It makes you brave enough to want more than you ever thought possible. Hey, Emma, Ryan said softly. Yeah, thank you for crashing into me. Emma laughed, the sound bright and free. Thank you for saying yes to something completely insane. Best decision I ever made, Ryan said, and kissed her as the first stars appeared in the darkening sky. If this story touched your heart, subscribe for more tales of unexpected love and second chances. Hit that like button if you believe in Christmas miracles. And share this with someone who needs to hear that it's never too late to choose happiness over perfection. Tell me in the comments, have you ever taken a crazy chance on love? Or walked away from success to find something real? I read every comment and I love hearing your stories. Remember, the best adventures start when you stop playing it safe and start living authentically. Sometimes you have to crash your cart into a stranger to find your way home. Until next time, keep believing in the beautiful chaos of real human connection.